Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Reason why is because there's no such coaching like my coaching anywhere on the internet. True story. Because nobody cares about their clients like I do. And because nobody spends as much time on their clients and is more invested than I am. True story still. I coach mainly in audio exchange as well as telephone sessions. The two coaching packages, the links are below, always in the description section. The link to my website where you can find also an hour call. If you need to make up your mind whether I'm your kind of coach or not, you can hire me for an hour and decide. However, I always would like to remind you that hiring me for an hour and not being prepared to go into coaching with me, well, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to say it's an entirely waste of your time, but something close to it. I think ultimately you want to get into coaching with me. I appreciate everybody watching my videos and this and that. But if you want to make a difference in your life, you need to be coached by somebody. And so if I resonate with you, based on my videos, yes, hire me for an hour and then decide. But usually you need to be prepared. I recommend 2 to 3 a month in coaching with me, realistically speaking, because everybody's full of history. I need to cover your history first. I'm very thorough in my coaching. I take tremendous amount of notes after each and every single client because every single detail interests me about you. This is my job. I have to pen out your history in order to understand the kind of person that you are. And then and only then proceed to work on beliefs, work on forgiveness. It varies person to person. It's not cookie cut my coaching. There's a main kind of like objective, a main kind of main program, but I tailor it to each and every single person. Some people need more coaching. Some people 2 to 3 months is usually sufficient. However, it like I said, it's based on your history, how much things that we need to cover with you, okay? How much history, rather. On my website, you can also find a link to a seminar. It's mostly, most of the time, I should say, it's a virtual seminar for 10 people, okay? This could be covering what I cover in coaching with everybody that come into coaching with me, or it can be something custom made. Okay, but basically it's up to 5 hours of my time. And I think a group of 10 is more manageable. I've done more. I've done like 25 and 30 private seminars. It's a little bit less personable, I find. However, I've done those. This I find, cannot be handled over Zoom, obviously. It needs to be in person. And so if you're not in New York, then you need to fly me out and all that jazz, okay? Together with my dog. Woof, woof. There are also phone calls. I took it away for a second and then I put it back on. The 5 phone calls. This is for somebody who already went through my coaching, okay? My coaching is pretty like, I hold your hand throughout the process. Some people come back in for phone calls, essentially to do some touch-ups, and that's who that's for. This is not part of coaching because, like I said, my coaching is pretty intense in the beginning. I answer your audio in the case of audio exchange within a day or two. Okay, I answer it in the order it was received. I have like 20, 25 clients at a time. And in the case of phone sessions, each phone session lasts about an hour. Sometimes I go over by a few minutes. I record that session for my notes because I need to pay attention to what you're telling me in the phone conversation. And then I transcribe it in my own way. I take a tremendous amount of notes. In both scenarios, audio exchange or phone conversations, and listen to the recording more than once, transcribe it in my own way. It's more or less like a transcript, except done my way. And then in a case of audio, return with my own audio that I address everything that I heard and give you direction what to respond with next. Or if it's a phone call, then next time around, I also give you some homework, I call it, some assignments, some direction on what to work on next. And at the next phone call, we'll reconvene, okay, and address certain things. If you need to book coaching with me, please remember that, again, first come, first serve. I cannot stress this enough. If I'm totally booked up out of the wazoo, you're going to need to wait, which happens periodically. But you need to book in order to be considered, first. And you need to sign my coaching agreement, which essentially states that I am not a psychiatrist. I'm very direct. I do curse in my coaching occasionally, just for emphasis, not to disrespect anyone. You need to come humble, respectful, and take my guidance. If you're going to rebuttal me and be disrespectful, the coaching will end. My fee is non-refundable. And there are a couple of other clauses which are pretty self-explanatory for like most of the population. However, the last one is that everything is confidential unless, and this I never had to deal with, you become a threat to somebody, yourself or me, okay? In other words, if I become alarmed that you might harm yourself or somebody, it's my duty to report that. And parenthesis here, I cannot handle individuals who have mental illnesses, okay? This is coaching. I'm not a psychiatrist. So if you genuinely feel like you need help of another kind, please address that in therapy with a professional that's qualified to help you. I simply am not, okay? In coaching, you really need to follow along, really take my guidance and understand that I'm very direct. You cannot like fall apart on me. This is what coaching is. This is the kind of coach I am, okay? Very strong, very kind of like direct. This is why most of my clients achieve results, because I don't dilly-dally. If you have any questions, the email is below. Email me with your objectives and coaching. Book an hour if that's what you will. Or just, book the month and we can commence with our first conversation over the phone, which is how I usually start my coach. Okay, so before I go into my subject, there are a couple of comments that I found interesting, but I've been kind of like crazy busy the last few days. And I can't say I read them all too thoroughly, but on a second look, it was a little bit more interesting than it appeared in the first place. Sorry. So actually, maybe I will start with my subject, and then I'll incorporate the answers to those comments as I go. Okay. The subject of today is from being desperate for your SP to being victorious over them. It's a little bit wordy, but I didn't know what else to title it, and I thought about it for a while, trust me. And again, parenthesis here, this could be applied to anything. Does not have to be your SP. You can just simply say from being desperate to being victorious, period. Or from being desperate for money to being victorious with your money. It's up to you. It's basically going from one state to another, okay? And thus changing realities. And I think like if I have a theme on my channel, it's just that. You can start with absolutely nothing. You can start by being desperate. You can find yourself in a situation where you really feel like the universe is against you and all that stuff. I mean, all of us has found ourselves in situations where we just see no way out. And it seems like, the clouds are closing in over our head. And so my theme on my channel is to really say, this is just an illusion. This is just temporary. Why? Because temporarily you chose a reality that resonated with your energy and transpired in some things that appear as a desperate situation. And I'm here to tell you, I've lived this in my life like over and over, where I've literally changed realities within hours. okay, within hours, from not knowing how to solve the situation to coming out victorious. And in some cases, in many cases, actually, in most cases, I should say, creating something due to that transition into a parallel reality that I would never be able to create had I not been so desperate for the change of the reality. And so, in effect, everything does serve you in the universe. Everything does serve. I really do believe that. Everything does serve you, because if you find yourself desperate today for your spear, for whatever it is, that's just one situation, one side of the story. You can either surrender to that, or you can use it as a motivation to create something unparalleled in your life. Okay? If you're going to cave and give in and be like most people watching 300 million videos on YouTube, trying to look for an answer, giving up your power, I'm not a believer in that. I really am not. Even though I know it's a contradiction. I'm on YouTube, obviously. You're watching my video right now. But the thing is, okay, first of all, don't watch 300 million videos, maybe watch a couple instead. But the second thing is that it's up to you. The decision is yours. Things could look like shit right now until such time that you decide to change realities. The whole world can be against you, in quotation marks, and you can just decide, this too shall serve me. How? I'm going to completely revolutionize my life based on this challenge. I'm going to prove myself that I'm a badass motherfucker or a badass bitch, okay? No disrespect, once more. And I'm going to cultivate a reality. Well, it's already there. It's not really cultivated by you. It just exists already. I'm going to cultivate a feeling, rather, within my body that corresponds to that reality. Okay, you know what fear feels like. You know what desperation feels like. You know what, sadness feels like, right? These are not emotions that you want to go with. And if you did go with those emotions, you can literally manufacture a feeling within your body that will start reflecting back to you the reality that corresponds with those feelings. For example, hope, passion, love, excitement, okay, looking forward to something, telling yourself, look, I've been met with challenges before and it worked out. What makes it different now? Okay, I remember what it's like to have my SP. I remember how happy we were. I remember how nice he was to me or she was to me. Just because in this moment in time, I find myself kind of like being not there, doesn't mean at all, that you cannot recreate that frequency, that reality, maybe even topping that reality that you've experienced before. If you make that decision, decisions are necessary, okay? So if you really want to be a magician of your life, just like I say in my intro, you need to become, delusional to what is happening right now. Everything can be a shit show right now, and you don't care. Your SP left for the third party. They're not reacting to you. They're ghosting you. Maybe haven't spoken to you in years and this and that. Okay, I've had those cases in my coaching, like left and right, sometimes even decades. Okay, maybe the money that you need right now isn't there. Maybe the job, the opportunity that you really crave isn't there. Okay, well, somehow, some way, parenthesis here, you did create the situation. That's number one, taking responsibility. In my coaching is numero uno priority. Why? Because without it, you're not going anywhere. You're going to wind it back and see, how did I create this? With my feelings, emotions, and thoughts, and most importantly, beliefs. The other thing, the other theme in my coaching and on my channel is that beliefs form your world. Whether they're true or not true, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, it can be true for me that I'm a millionaire, and that's what I believe. today, and I will continue being millionaire as so far as I believe it. You might not believe it right now, and that's why you're not. But if you all of a sudden assumed with a few dollars in your bank account or whatever the case might be, maybe a few thousand, that you're a millionaire, you will start attracting this reality through ideas, through people calling you, through somebody will email you, something will happen, your mood will change, your mood will become that of a millionaire. And so the world, the universe has to conform. Likewise, if you are not hearing from your SP, you think that they've abandoned you, this is the end of story, la la la. You're going to put yourself in the mood, in this vibration of, okay, we needed this separation. Somehow I created this to realize a few things about myself, about them, this and that. But now I will remember what it was like to be with them. Or if you don't have those memories, if this person was a jerk to you, you must have something to work with. But by the way, parenthesis here, if this person was a jerk to you, period, nothing really like good that you can remember, well, that might be a special case, but one might ask, why do you even want them back, right? So, but if you have something good to work with and you remember how nicely they treated you and how attentive they were in the beginning and all this jazz, take that portion, because that reality, you've lived that reality, and start expanding on it. That reality didn't go anywhere. Let me tell you this right now. If you created something once, you can create it and recreate it and recreate it. The fact that maybe you experienced a change that you didn't want to experience is entirely based on you traveled to a parallel reality that you did not prefer. And so again, how did you do that? That's the question that I answer in coaching, in my coaching with you. It usually has to do with what you believe about yourself, what you believe about relationships, or if it's money, what do you believe about money? So temporarily you can introduce like a miracle, okay? Oh, it was a miracle. I met so and they were so wonderful. Oh, it was a miracle. I, came into this amount of money, but then it went somewhere. Okay, it didn't go anywhere. All right, it is right there for you. The only reason you didn't keep it is because your beliefs interfered. You need to work on your beliefs and adjust them. Okay, it's a very delicate kind of work, but pretty straightforward and pretty kind of like on point in my code. And so to some people, for example, it's called wavering. If you're wavering between realities, okay, and you go from desperate to victorious, desperate to victorious, desperate to victorious, okay, you need to just decide to be victorious once and for all. It's no fun to have this merry-go-round. But again, the adjustment is in the beliefs that you decide to become this person who is victorious, that you decide to have your SP back, that you decide to have this sum of money or the healing. And it doesn't have to be like physical, it could be emotional, that you decide to let go of your anger and resentment once and for all. Diseases, parenthesis here, of any kind are associated with emotional instability or some kind of like pollution, quite frankly. If you hold on to resentment or anger long enough, guess what? This is not new information. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this. Okay? And so if you are in the state of desperation, you're polluting your creation with things that you don't want. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with health. That was just an example, but you're polluting your creation with something that you don't want, right? So if you are in desperate situation, all you have to do, parenthesis here, having done the work on your beliefs, that's, you know what you want and you're going to laser sharp focus on it. Okay, that's the only thing. You can literally fly by the, how do you call it? Seat of your pants. I think that's the right expression. I don't want to look it up now. from a desperate situation into a victorious within an hour. If you commit to yourself to being laser sharp focused on something that you really want. And so manifestation is always instant, because at any point you can decide what you would rather have, what you would rather see. And the most impossible things will happen. Seemingly impossible, but very possible if you understand this concept of parallel realities, parallel versions of people. My objective in coaching, again, is you. Why did you create that? You cannot blame anything on anyone. You're the only one in charge. Okay? So if you decide to create something, everything will come together. Your SP will turn right back around, dump that third party if you want them to. They will come and apologize and say all the lovely things. You are the one painting this picture. You are the one creating this whole theater, okay, of interacting with these individuals. So if you're creating unpleasant things, it has to do with you. You are doing something with your consciousness up here in your mind that it gets projected out, and everybody's just under your spell the whole entire fucking time. So reality is in fact not what you translate it to be. It might seem like, oh yeah, I'm over here and this is over here on the outside. No, there is no outside. Everybody's you. But, some people you create and you have kind of like antagonistic relationships with them because there's something that you need to reconcile within yourself. It's a whole, I can write a book just about that. But yes, Vedrana, at some point I will write a book. Thank you. Actually, let me just answer some comments here really quick before I forget. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole comment, but essentially she's asking me, how can you tell the story how you've been manifesting since 12 years old? So I know it's a little bit frustrating for you guys sometimes to hear me speak about manifestation, that it's so easy, it's easy. For me, it always was. Okay? Even the times when I created some shitty shit, I knew exactly how I did it. It wasn't a mystery to me. Okay? I got involved with some people that I shouldn't have never gotten involved with, but I knew exactly how I created it. Okay? And when I realized what I've been creating, I also knew how to unmanifest them. I mean, things that I've created since I was 12, it's a long list, and I don't want to really make it boring, so maybe I'll record like one audio at a time about these things. All I really understood, I was a very shy kid when I was growing up, and I would write stories. I was so shy that I had like maybe a friend or two in school. Nobody wanted to be my friend. I was weird looking. I dressed like really in a weird way to them because I made my own clothes and I had my own like fashion already going on and this and that. And they all dressed the same, and I stood out like a sore thumb. What else is new? And I was taller than everybody else. And so I would sit in my room and I would write stories about like what I wish my life would look like, and I manifested absolutely all of it, everything. This is why, scripting is so powerful. You really have to watch like what you say, your vocabulary, what you wish for, okay? This is all the fabric of your mind. Like everything that's surrounding you is the fabric of your mind. Okay, and so manifesting is so fucking easy, it's ridiculous. So this is why I do this work, because that's my point of view, and I want to impart that upon as many people as I can. Because, countless people that have come into my coaching have basically told me like, you make it sound so easy. All the other coaches, or most other coaches, I should say, make it sound so complicated. And nothing pisses me off more than that, because if somebody, first, two things. If somebody makes it sound complicated, That means either they don't understand that it's easy, or they're doing it on purpose to kind of like for you to stay in coaching with them till the end of motherfucking time. Okay, that's that. I honestly, like, I want you to get it. I want you to understand how easy it is, and I want you to fly like a bird out of my coaching. You know what I mean? I don't want you to stay more than you have to. And I'm going to put in all the work that I can for you to get it. Now, some people need more time, but I'm not going to be like, oh, you have to stay because, there are more things. If there are no more things, there are no more things. It's up to you. If you want to discuss more things, then all right. But I'm never going to, do that. Then she asks me, this is Vidrana now, how to make, so again, this is all surrounding manifestation. So how to put a mark on a new version of a person. You just decide, this is the mark that is going to tell the two people apart. Maybe they had a scar, and now the scar isn't there anymore, and they have no recollection of this injury or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, they drove some car, and you meet them again, and you're like, where's that car? What car? I don't know anything about. My favorite is when I can change somebody's appearance, and I've done that actually quite a bit. This way, I mean, it's not like so drastic of a change, but it's like something about this person that's like different, maybe they start like wearing different clothes, or maybe they start like, doing their hair differently, things like that. And the people not remembering that they've ever met me, yeah, that happened to me like so many different ways. It was almost like a joke. But the thing is, I love to play with the universe. I really do, because it's fun, and because I don't know, it just proves to me over and over again how manifestation is easy, how none of this is actually reality, in quotation marks, how it's basically your theater. So who's to say you cannot like change an actor in your play, make them forget they ever met you, things like that. I don't know how else to explain it. And then she also asked me about pictures disappearing and text disappearing. Well, that's intention. Again, everything is intention. With the pictures disappearing, so I don't know if I told this story. Yeah, that actually blew my mind quite a bit. Even mine. Mind got blown. The story, and I'm going to make this quick. I went to see a townhouse a while ago, like years ago now. I don't remember, maybe 5 years ago, maybe longer. And it was a friend of mine, real estate agent, and went to see the townhouse. And we went outside, and I don't know how to explain it. So they had 3 stories, and it was very obvious from the outside that the owner built 2 stories on top of the original structure. And when I looked at the structure, the 2 stories on top were just like an inch off to the left. It was the weirdest of things. And I thought, why would they do it like this? Didn't they see like how even an inch, it was visible, it was noticeable. And so I thought, yeah, and we both, I was so glad that he was with me. And I said to my friend, it's a shame. It's a beautiful townhouse, but look at this. Like, come on, this would bother me till the end of time, And so we left it at that. And I don't know how many, maybe 2 years go by, right? And I happened to be in the neighborhood of that townhouse. I was with my dog, and I was like, hey, let's just go by this townhouse, and I just want to kind of like, I don't know, I still had an affinity for it. And when I looked at the townhouse, it was perfect. It was straight. There was no deviation from the center, or however you want to say it. The structure was aligned as if it was always like that. Now, you have to understand, you couldn't correct it. Like, you could go and say, maybe they corrected it. No, you don't understand. It was built like that. They would have to dishevel the whole entire thing and start all over. And so it just as if like the structure on top had been moved, which is impossible. And I just stood there, with my eyes like, what am I looking at? I know for a fact it wasn't like this. And so I took some pictures because I wanted to show my friend. And I wanted to do like a side by side picture. But when I went into my phone and into my iCloud, I could not find a single shot because I took a lot of pictures that day when we went to see it. I could not find a single fucking shot proving that what I was saying is true. And now I was like sitting in my home, and I'm like, why is it I looked through my iPad, through my computer, everywhere. Where did those pictures go? And I have pictures from like 10 years ago and stuff like that, right? So like things that I don't particularly care about. This was not such a long, it was like maybe at that moment, it was 2 years ago. Nothing to verify that and I hesitated to contact my friend because I thought to myself, well, what if like I'm going to tell the story to him and he's going to think like I've gone completely bonkers. Maybe he's the new version, so I kept it to myself. I don't remember. There must have been somebody I told it to, but it was surreal. Yeah. And again, about the text disappearing is just intention. But yeah, basically that's it. If you wish you never sent a text, never send an email to somebody that you regret, you can experiment with that, and it will just be erased out of that reality. You will be in a reality where you never send that text, and it's just how it works. It's all going to appear like you've never sent it, and there is no interruption in the conversation between you and that person. It's just as if it never were. That's it. And so then there's another person, and then I'm going to say some closing notes. Ada428 left me a comment. It's about changing beliefs. So she's like, what is the one approach of changing them? So here's the deal, guys. When you ask me questions like that, you put me in the position of trying to get coaching from me in the comments, not for nothing. I'm a little bit too much of a perfectionist and professional. I'm not going to, Chris Rock said once, if you have gold, don't give it away backstage, okay? Come on stage and then perform, because that's what you do. That's one reason. Secondly, I don't know you. I don't know the kind of beliefs you have and how you grew up. And for me, quite frankly, it will be pretty irresponsible to start asking questions like that, because I will not be of service to you, even if I wanted to. And so while I agree, Ada, that, affirming all day doesn't work, I just had this discussion with one of my clients for the gazillionth time. I mean, explaining to yet, having this, I've had this conversation with many people that affirming too much doesn't work. Either you believe something or you don't. That's the end of story, really. And if you feel like you need to affirm, you are really doing yourself a disservice because you're not addressing something, okay? Another thing that I already spoke about other coaches in general, is that most coaches, and I've encountered that in a couple of people that came into my coaching, most coaches will tell you, and on the internet, doing these videos, can I speak, that it's not a good idea to revisit the past. It's not a good idea to uncover unpleasant emotions. I have a very different point of view and approach. If you're that resistant to talking about the past, I can put my money on the fact that you're avoiding something. And that's even more of a reason to talk about it. That's one. Number two, It also means that there are some emotions that have been not released there, and you'd rather cover it up with affirmations till the end of time, rather than address your emotion and expel them, work on them, release them, process them. This, for me, is like, I don't know how to say it. It's probably the main difference between myself and other coaches. I am not this Barbie doll with a blueberry pie in my hand who's going to be like, let's just be happy. Let's just be happy no matter what, no matter how much pain you've got inside. Oh no, no, that's so irresponsible. It works against you all the time. If you have some resentment, anger, pain, whatever unprocessed emotions, honestly, it's your responsibility to work through that. And you will see how much more, how much easier you will begin to manifest. If you have emotions, you need to address it. If you're angry, you need to address it. If you're sad, you need to address it. And by the way, being happy all the time, I'm sorry, something's wrong with you, okay? It doesn't exist. So why push yourself to that, like, kind of like unrealistic, standard of being happy all the time? It doesn't exist. I think if you're angry, you need to feel the anger, okay? Don't be irresponsible. Don't, start kind of like, be violent about it or anything like that. But expressing anger is part of life, okay? Expressing sadness, crying is part of life. Sometimes emotions come up, okay? The problems, quite frankly, start when you push emotions down. And I do not salute that. I don't recommend it. One way or another, you will have to deal with that shit. Okay? So you might as well do it now. You want to manifest like a magician, you need to become your best friend. And if if you are your best friend, you need to allow yourself to feel human emotions. You cannot just jam it down, push it down, and all that jazz. True change comes when you acknowledge what's already there. You can clear it, and then that gives you so much power, so much energy, so much good energy now that you don't have to force into your life. It just comes to you naturally. But like I always say, if you have a pile of garbage in the middle of your living room representing your beliefs and unprocessed emotions, you're not going anywhere new or pleasant, that is. So that, I'm a strong believer. I know, I've seen it like over and over and over in my coaching. I know it from my own personal life. Okay, you are not going anywhere until you release all that shit. So again, going back to the topic, from desperate to victorious, if right now you're not in a position of being victorious, of being happy, of everything being intact in your life, there's stuff to work on. And if something came up and made you feel desperate, made you feel, some type of way where you're disempowered, you need to go back and look at, okay, if I'm feeling this way, what do I have to believe about myself, about the situation at hand? What do I believe about people in general, relationships, this and that? And from this point on, how can I change the situation in order to uncreate this, situation, but also uncreate it in the future, okay? The work on yourself really comes down to this, conquering your demons, and everybody's got them, okay? And keeping them in check, or basically rendering them powerless. And that takes some work, it does, because right here, right now, you can feel a certain way, you can have a certain situation, but if you have a mindset of, again, somebody who's already in a relationship with your SP, somebody who's already very wealthy, somebody who's already healthy, this and that, you will approach the situation from a different point of view, from a different energy. So it's not like things don't happen to other people. It's not like there aren't things to work on ever. Everybody's always in progress. But you never should find yourself in a situation where you just don't know what to do. Okay? You're stuck in this energy of like, I'm desperate. No, you're not. You're not. You just don't know what to do. You haven't processed a lot of things, okay? But there's always the way out. There's always a solution. There's always the next and the next and the next. It's not that I cannot manifest it. It's like, why am I not manifesting it? Those are better questions to ask. It's not that if I find myself in a situation where I don't have my SP, that nothing is wrong. Like some clients tell me, everything is fine, 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 fine. Let's just manifest my SP back and I'll be good. No, no. You're starting backwards, darling. You're starting backwards. You need to start with yourself, and you need to really be honest and open about why it is you're manifesting the shit right now. Because everything is just your mirror, your SP, your money, your health, everything that you're experiencing right now. And so if the situation is desperate, you're desperate. If the situation turns to victorious, at some point you changed it to being victorious. However, like I said, it's one thing to switch to a new parallel reality one time, but the idea is to switch to it permanently. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.